Kamikaze, sudden impact, get back, they gave me this rock track, I rock that, wake up in the morning, yeah, I put on my ball cap, then I slap back, like my snapback, yeah, I knew you like that, but now you looking stupid, bitch, I spit so sick they call it lupus, fuck with me is foolish, I'm the best to ever do this, motherfucker. I thought you knew this. You never knew what the fuck I would do, but now you know why you lied on the floor, and you never knew what the fuck I would do, but now why you lying on the floor? Yeah, now they're yelling danger, danger. Who's this motherfucker with all this hostility in a pin-up anger? Guess what? I got deadly aim, bruh. And I ain't playing games with you. I bring a house full of pain, yeah. Insane in the brain. Then I'll take you to the top of Cypress Hill and, yeah. I make you jump around, then you disappear without a sound. I told you when I see you, put you in ICU.
Oh, that's for the real apples. Yeah, man. You looking like the devil who created you.
You looking like the devil who created you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where the fuck you're at on this crazy fucking planet. But it's nice to have you here. Thanks for joining me for the typical late night, early morning, whatever, OZone shenanigans, where Jena did a bang-up job of finding this video for us to be not educated, but definitely entertained by. And yes, you looking like the devil who created you. Yeah. All right. Well, before we get down to business, let's get down to business. I ain't got no time to play around. What is this? Seems like the circus in town. Let's set the shit down on these clowns. Can I get a witness? Hell yeah. And that's just me filling time as I pull this stuff up here. So you're welcome. All right, just a few announcements here, and then we'll get to, like I said, get to the business. As you should know, and if you don't know, now you're going to know. The Atheist Network Group proudly presents Better, June 25th and 26th in Fort Wayne, Indiana, at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. And yes, there is a big old fucking fighter jet out front. But you can see all the beautiful and also badass faces that are going to be a part, other than the guy that's just going to be a fart, bottom right-hand corner, directly underneath Seth Andrews. But the ticket sales have reservation sales have begun to pick up now as we're getting closer. So if you're wanting to be there, I would consider pulling the trigger here and making it happen, Captain. But June 25th and 26th, and for those that do get the I keep calling it the wrong name, so I'm just gonna say the top tier package, or the fuck it's called, the after party, where you'll get to hang out with all the speakers in TANG will be held at my place of employment. They are brave. But the Summit City Comedy Club in Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's not too far away at all from the Coliseum, so it'll be good times. And then if you, for whatever reason, can't make it in person, the one thing we're going to do for sure is the after party that Saturday night at the comedy club. My brother from another mother, Pasta Mike, will be live streaming that for any and all patrons, and also YouTube channel members. So you're going to want to lock that down. And if you do have any questions, you can email us at itstangang@gmail.com. And we'll help as much as we can. And next on the docket, this shit's going down. We got Jena will put the dates in the chat because I just X'd out of my notes and I'm not going to take the time to go pull it up. But coming up here soon, whatever date Jena puts in the chat is the official date. The next installment of Chopping It Up with Jena and Oz, we will have the godfather of atheism, Randolph with an F, Richardson. And don't forget the F, bitches. But no, we're going to talk about bad arguments for God, so it should be entertaining. And then last but definitely not least, also the next installment of what has become kind of a channel subscriber, viewer favorite, and that is being comfortable with the uncomfortable. But this one's going to be really focused primarily 100% on mental health, considering that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. If you're a follower or subscriber of this channel, you know that's something that's very important to me, very important to us. So we're gonna dig in, and we have a couple guests that are gonna be joining us. I know my Aunt Kathy will be there, and I know Jena has a friend of hers that will be hanging out with us as well. So it should be, and Jena's going to be a part of that stream. So that one's going to be awesome, and not awesome just as far as entertainment, is that we don't really do those streams for entertainment. Hopefully we can help, whether it's us helping and giving insight, or best practices that we have used, continue to use, whatnot. But sometimes just making people aware of all of the resources that we do have, at our disposal here in the atheist hood. So it'll be good times, man, good times. And I spoke to Dr. Josh earlier today. I think this will be the last one, and him and I are working on a little like counter apologetics stream. That's all I'm going to say. But it could be spicy. 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 Anyway, well, you guys know me. I'm good at going on bunny trails regardless, but this has been a crazy ass fucking weekend at the comedy club. James Murray, so Murr from Impractical Jokers has been in, and it's been a fucking nut house. So I officially tonight feel like I don't feel tired, like mentally, but my body feels it's fatigued. It feels like I got hit by a fucking dump truck again, and I know what that feels like. So if I do start going off on bunny trails, it's because I'm distracted. And you take distracted on top of already being ADHD distracted, and sometimes we're in for a hot mess. But I digress. Let's get down to business. I ain't got no time to play around with this. So this video comes from Jena's new favorite YouTube channel. And don't let her lie to you. She loves it. She would rather sit and watch this bullshit than talk to me on the phone. So it ranks way up there. But no, she going through this channel. This video comes from the same channel that she just did her 2-part review on her solo streams. So yes, Jena, thank you, because I got about halfway to 3/4 away through it. I'm like, fuck, you fucking evangelicals, you oh my god, you're nuts, you're fucking nuts. But anyway, this is Dr. I can never say his name right. We talked about him the other night, but Dr. Craig Keener. I always call him Dr. Craig Queefer, but we'll attempt to be professional at least here for a little bit. You know what I just fucking realized, and we're now exactly 13 minutes into the stream. I forgot to put my fucking hat on. That's how fucked up my head is right now. But this is Did Jesus Really Exist is the name of the video. And yeah, let's do it. We already know where this is going.
I mean, sometimes people say, oh, you have a Christian bias. Well, look, I've worked through all these ancient sources, and it looks to me like the people who don't want to accept at least the basic claims of the New Testament are working with an anti-Christian bias. I mean, the best surviving source on Alexander the Great, who lived 356 to 320, is from Arian, a historian who lived in the 2nd century AD. So he lived like over 400 years after died. And yet the Gospel of Mark, the use is only 40 years after Jesus rose.
Sorry, just to make everything clear. So Kiefer, he doesn't appear to be, but I think there's always the underlying shit, even if they're really good at sugarcoating it. He doesn't appear to be like the extreme hateful version. But you'll see the level of delusions and the illusions godly, grandiose dreams, and well, you'll fucking see. Oh, from her. See, my brain's not connecting a lot right now. Unfortunately, I have to report that so far, out of the 4 gentlemen and Practical Jokers, the 2 that I've been able to meet and watch and observe firsthand, they're both fucking cocksucking assholes. Yeah. They like themselves just a little bit. Just a little bit. And yes, he is recording from his 104-year-old mom's basement.
From the dead. So, I mean, we're talking about a much shorter time frame, much closer to the time of the eyewitnesses.
Well, thank you for watching another episode of the Jude 3 Project podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lisa Fields, the founder of the Jude 3 Project, and I'm here today joined by the famous Dr. Craig Keener. Welcome, Dr. Keener.
It's so good to be with you, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Good to
just call me Craig.
Okay.
And just being completely petty right now and pessimistic. I don't know who this lady is. I don't give a fuck. The famous Kiefer? Famous? I guess I need your definition and your criteria for famous. Because just because you write a lot of words on a lot of papers, that doesn't make you famous. Sherry.
Good to have you with us, and been so blessed by all your scholarship and work just throughout the years. Just tell our audience just a little bit about who you are.
Well, I was converted from atheism. I was a pretty. There are nice atheists and mean atheists. I was a mean atheist, but I was converted.
I had to get my mic really close to my nose and my face and shit. Make sure you guys hear me. I'm already suspect. I was one of the mean atheists. And it gets better. I'm not even gonna say it. When you hear what convinced or how he was convinced, we're about to go on an actual mean atheist rampage. But typically the angry atheist, they're not easily convinced, sir.
Converted through an encounter with God, and then eventually I did my PhD in New Testament and Christian origins at Duke University. My wife, whom I met at Duke, she was doing her PhD at University of Paris. She was an exchange student from Congo in Central Africa. So we've been married now for, it'll be 20 years this weekend. And
congratulations.
Yeah, we have a couple kids, and I have like 34 books out. Some of them are small and more readable, like this one, The Story of My Wife and Me. It's just a fun book. But then the Bible background commentary is the one that's most used. And then I have some other ones, like the 4,500-page Acts commentary, which is like not so readable, and but it may help with insomnia or something. So a bunch of you know, a range of different kinds of books.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad.
All right, we'll pause this for more important content. Yeah, Mike, I don't know if you heard me talk about Murr, but Murr's a dick, just like Joe is a dick. Ben Bailey was cool as shit. DeRay Davis is the motherfucking man. DeRay Davis is that dude is fucking legit. He's fucking cool as the other side of the pillow. Like he's a real motherfucker. Like I had a blast hanging out with him. He's a good dude. Real talk. Real talk. Now back to your regular scheduling programming.
Glad to have you on today. We're going to be talking about the historical Jesus. This is a topic we haven't really covered on Jude 3, but I think it's really an important apologetic topic for some, you know, especially in Black churches. They're like, who doesn't think that?
Hold on. Hold the fuck up. Hey, Jena, babe, can you find out when this channel started? Please, pretty please. You have a Christian apologetic channel or platform, and unless you just started like 30 days ago, you haven't talked about the historicity of like Jesus Christ, you know, kind of important to the narrative, like that's where the word Christian comes from. Oh man, we're off on all the bad feet. Oh, yep, Aunt Jer, you fucking nailed it. This is all. Oh, just wait till you hear some of the numbers this man spews out of his fucking Tales from the Crypt looking ass mouth. Oh, it gets good. And wait till you hear what convinced him that Yahweh exists.
That people don't think that Jesus is a historical figure, but actually there's quite a bit of conversation.
All right. So 2018. I mean, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I know that. I'm cool with that. But what I am pretty fucking good at is like common sense and problem solving, and like I'm usually pretty good at those things. Your Christian apologetic channel has been in existence for 4 years. 4 fucking years. 4 fucking years. May I say it one last time? 4 fucking years. And this is the first time that the historicity or the scriptural historical accuracy or any of that fucking shit has been talked about. You done fucked up, Aaron.
Around it. Why is this such an important topic, do you think? Obviously, why do you think there's so much skepticism around it would be a better question.
You know, even when I was an atheist, I wouldn't have said that Jesus didn't exist.
Mhm.
I mean, it would be like saying, okay, I don't believe in Islam, I don't believe Muhammad existed, or
Mhm.
I don't believe in the Bible, so I don't believe the Bible exists, or I don't believe
Mhm.
in the Bible, I don't believe Christians exist. You all don't
Mhm.
exist. But you know, it's a non sequitur. But some people have, I think, taken that route of, you know, trying to. I mean, if you look at the
I'm, I, I'm, I'm, what the fuck are you? Huh? What? What? Of course it fucking did. They had to spend 4 fucking years slinging oil and going into their prayer closet and but then coming together for intercessory prayer and then lay hands on each other and then speak in tongues, and then they had to rebaptize and baptize their computer. And then they realized when they baptized their computer, it fucked the whole shit up. Now they had to buy a brand new computer, so they had to raise more money through offerings. See, it was all just really fucked up. That's where faith gets you. So, Kiefer, man, we're getting we're getting off on all the wrong footsies. We're getting off on all the wrong footsies, and I now have to be very, very skeptical if you even understand like logical arguments, logical contradictions. And I'm not a philosophy guy. Do you even understand fallacies? Like now I'm extremely skeptical because I'm not a philosophy guy. I am a high school dropout. I am not the most intellectual, like when it comes to scholarship and all that. I'm not the dude, man. And I know that, and I own that. But I've done my due diligence and I've studied enough to know that you kind of just stepped in a big old heaping pile of shit. And the reason I say that is we're going to pull up the definition and explanation of a non sequitur. So, first definition, a non sequitur is a statement that is not clearly related to the previous topic of conversation or writing. Sorry, excuse me. As a logical fallacy, it is an inference that does not follow from the original premise. Okay, definition. Explanation. When your friend brought up the math exam, oh, sorry, I have to go back to the top. Here's the example. During lunch, you're chatting with your friends about the latest blockbuster movie that just came out. All of you are really excited to see it. The reviews are great. Your favorite actors are in it. And the trailer looks awesome. Someone suggests that you catch the Saturday evening showing as a group. Before you can chime in on how that's a great idea, a voice pipes up. Hey, what did you think of the math test on Monday? The conversation quickly gets diverted to the difficulty of derivatives, and those Saturday plans never get finalized before the lunch bell rings. So when your friend, the explanation, when your friend brought up the math exam, they said a non sequitur, which means that their statement does not match up with the rest of the conversation. It's a new topic clumsily inserted into the conversation. So, Kiefer, here's the problem with you claiming that mythicism or the belief that Jesus never existed or doesn't exist or whatever, it's not at all a non sequitur because there's no fucking Christianity without Jesus. Why would you even fucking say that? And again, as a very, I mean, you I don't know. I didn't go and look for evidence, but you say you do. You have a doctorate and you've written 40,000 books or what the fuck ever it is. How do you not know that? How do I know that and you not know that? But then I'm supposed to believe you? I'm supposed to take you serious on your accounts of why Jesus existed? Come on, man. We're off on the bad footsies. We're off on the bad footsies. Get your shit together.
The people who teach ancient history in universities around the world, people who teach Greek and Roman classics, people who teach New Testament, certainly. I mean, of those who have positions in universities and seminaries, the thousands of professors, I don't know of any who would deny that Jesus existed.
Mhm.
But on the popular level, and those maybe some people teach in other disciplines, but on the popular level, there's a lot of skepticism. People don't realize that by the methods that they use to say Jesus didn't exist, they may as well say the ancient world didn't exist. I mean, because they have to explain away so much evidence. Yeah, we don't have videos, but this is 2,000 years ago. I mean, the kind of evidence we have is better than we have for most historical figures in the ancient world. And actually, we know a whole lot about Jesus, not just that he existed, but I mean, there's a consensus among scholars.
Let me be as crystal fucking clear as I can be. I don't care about your consensus when you're talking about your Christian brethren and the bullshit arguments and the bullshit numbers and the bullshit facts and the bullshit statistics and the bullshit. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Why? Because there's still no evidence. No matter how hard and how far you reach, and no matter how many fucking hoops you try to jump through, there's still no evidence, Kiefer, for a Jesus. And I know we're gonna get your crazy ass fucking astronomical, and so like it's almost like you are in a movie and you're just creating shit. But do you know how many times consensus has been incorrect? Do you know how many times consensus has been demonstrated to have been wrong? I don't give a fuck about your consensus, especially when there's no good evidence for it, because I follow the fucking evidence for Jesus just like I do for Yahweh and Allah, and fuck them all. There's not a single one of them that fucking exist, period. And don't do, well, we're talking about the historical Jesus, Oz. We're not talking about the miracles. We're just talking about the dude. The dude. Well, fuck the dude. If it's not the motherfucker that was walking on water and spitting in fucking mud and rubbing that shit in people's eyes and healing and turning water into wine and all the other fucking goddamn fucking batshit fucking crazy shit he did, if we ain't talking about that dude, we're not talking about Jesus the Christ. We're just talking about a dude named Jesus. So get out, like miss me with all that bullshit, because that is apologetics, bad apologetics. But that is you swerving and dodging because you know there's no evidence for Jesus the Christ. And notice, even when Christians, and I was looking at this the other day, when Christians, especially the apologists, when they talk about the historicity argument for Jesus, they never include Christ in the name. Think about that. Think about that. They never include Christ. It's always the historicity of Jesus. Well, I don't give a fuck about a dude named Jesus. I want to know about Jesus, the Christ, Emmanuel, the Son of God, the Savior of the world. That's the motherfucker I'm talking about. So don't try to skirt. Don't try to run away. And if you're going to have this position, quit being a bitch. Quit being a fucking bitch about this claim and step up to the plate and defend it. And quit doing this dance game. It's either Jesus the Christ or I don't give a fuck about who you're talking about. Next.
From atheist to Christian, there's a consensus among scholars not only that Jesus existed, but certain things he was Jewish, he was from Nazareth. A vast majority of scholars believe that Jesus was known for working miracles. Now, this includes scholars who don't believe in miracles, but they believe that Jesus was experienced by his contemporaries as a miracle worker, that his disciples believed that they saw him alive from the dead. There's a consensus around a lot of these things, including among scholars who themselves personally don't believe in miracles or that Jesus rose from the dead.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the popular objections? Like you said, most scholars would agree.
But certain things he was Jewish, he was from Nazareth. The vast majority of scholars believe that Jesus was known for working miracles. Now, this includes scholars who don't believe in miracles, but they believe that Jesus was experienced by his contemporaries as a miracle worker, that his disciples believed that they saw him alive from the dead. There's a consensus around a lot of these things.
What? Oh my God. What the fuck are you even talking? So I said at the top, I was going to try to be professional. I was going to try to be kind, but I'm now losing all respect because you were literally vomiting. You were vomiting and shitting out of your mouth at the same fucking time. And now I feel like Robert from, I need to pull a Robert from Gin and Truth and say, listen, fuckface, fuck off. Like, what? This man just said that there's a consensus. Think about this. Let's have a drink so we can think clearly. So let's all just pause for a minute. Like if you're typing, just I'm asking you to pause for a minute. Let's walk through this. Let's think through this together, and then you can type your response in the chat. This motherfucker just said there is a consensus among scholars. Okay. Here's where it gets good. That the apostles believed that they had seen or experienced this Jesus feller, this Jesus motherfucker. So your consensus is based on someone's belief that we have no good evidence for? Kiefer, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. Man, you know what? It's official now at 3:19 a.m. Eastern Time on May 20th of 2022. Gary Habermath just went up one peg. Why? Because this guy just took his peg. No pun intended. But
I'm a bad boy.
Including among scholars who themselves personally don't believe in miracles or that Jesus rose from the dead.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about the popular objections? Like you said, most scholars would agree, even in secular spaces, that Jesus existed, but there obviously are popular level sources that kind of make this claim. What are their arguments as far as them believing that Jesus never existed?
I don't actually know what their arguments are because I spend most of my time reading the scholarly work and working in ancient history. But I'm guessing they're just saying there isn't enough evidence, which
the fuck did you just say? What? Huh? There's a college that gave you a motherfucking doctorate? A school gave you a degree? And I am the king of the pause button. Look at that motherfucker. He's fucking nuts. What is the common arguments? What is the common pushback? What is the common skepticism? What is it that you hear? I don't know. Why? Because I tend to learn, or I tend to lean towards confirmation bias, and I like to read my material from my cohorts and my fellow apologists, and we like to get together and Jesus jerk. I meant read scriptures and pray with each other. Guess what, Kiefer? I already said earlier you were losing respect. You've now lost all fucking respect, and now I'm going in. Now I got to go in because you just played all your fucking cards. You dishonest piece of shit. Ding ding ding. Oh man, if I was tired earlier, that shit woke me up. I don't do dishonesty. I don't like fuck that shit. Fuck. Get on here. You're gonna do a whole fucking stream about this shit, and you don't even know what the atheist or the mythicist or the skeptic's argument is. Man, shut the fuck up. Why are you even on this fucking stream? And this is the first one that this channel has on this topic, and you're the first one. I'm gonna argue that all the motherfuckers involved in this shit are fucking dumb as a box of rocks. Every single fucking one of you. Fucking Tales of the Crypt looking motherfucker. Get the fuck out of here.
Which is pretty easy to refute, or they say, well, the evidence isn't very good, but again, it's pretty easy to refute if you're talking about evidence from 2,000 years ago. I mean, the majority view among scholars today who work with the Gospels is that the Gospels are ancient biographies. Mm-hmm. And the nature of ancient biography developed over time. So you go back like half a millennium when it was starting to evolve. Biographies were kind of like, a funeral oration you give for somebody, whether they're dead or not. You kind of exaggerate some things, mm-hmm. And then, some centuries later, it was kind of like that. But the historiographic apex of ancient biography, that is when it was.
When it was biographies are starting to get popular and, the other shit, and they kind of embellished and oh, I saw you little dishonest fucking little weasel, like, and try to laugh it off. You're not as smart as you're not as smart as you think you are. Some school may have handed you a piece of paper that says you're smart. But I've met so many people in my life that have fucking crazy ass degrees, busted their ass doing all that shit, and I'll at least give you credit for your time put in, and that you put the work in. But there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between being intellectual and being smart. I'm not even seeing signs of this, but I will try to be as charitable as I can. You may be intellectual. You are not a smart man. You are not a fucking smart man.
Is closest to what we would call trying to be like history is in the first couple centuries. So it's like, it's from Cornelius Nepos at the end of the Roman Republic up until like the early 3rd century. And right in the 1st and the 2nd century is like the pinnacle of when they tried to be most historically accurate. And especially they would be most accurate when they were talking about figures within recent history. Oral historians talk about living memory. That's the period when either the people are alive, the eyewitnesses are alive, or the people who knew them were alive. Mm-hmm. I remember I was in a church in North Carolina. I was a member of a church in North Carolina years ago where there were people who actually remembered members of that church who had been born in slavery. So it was still within living memory in that sense. It's usually considered like 60 to 80 years. All the 1st century Gospels are within that time frame. Mm-hmm. So in terms of having, for any teacher in the ancient world, the only one who might even come close would be Socrates, to have, multiple works written about them within living memory. So, the sources that we have for Jesus are enormous. And of course, we have sources outside the New Testament as well. But we get the most information from Jesus' followers, just like, if you want to know much about Socrates, you're going to get the most detail from those who are his followers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's extremely helpful, because the weight that's put on proving anything in Christianity is incredibly high versus other historical facts that we accept is incredibly low. there's a kind of bias in that. I'm sure you've seen that in scholarship quite a lot.
Definitely. I mean, sometimes people say, oh, you have a Christian bias. Well, look, I've worked through all these ancient sources, and it looks to me like the people who don't want to accept at least the basic claims of the New Testament are working with an anti-Christian bias. I mean, the best surviving source on Alexander the Great, who lived 356 to 323 BC, the best surviving source on that is from Arian, a historian who lived in the 2nd century AD. So he lived like over 400 years after Alexander died. And yet the Gospel of Mark, the usual critical dating of the Gospel of Mark is only 40 years after Jesus rose from the dead. So, I mean, we're talking about a
No. And only you fucking crazy ass fucking nut job evangelicals say that shit. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And guess what? I don't care. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about fucking Socrates or I just slipped my mind. The other one he I don't give two motherfucks. I don't give 4, 5, or 6 goddamns about them. Why? Why? They were never attributed to being the Son of God, Emmanuel, God in flesh, sent to die for the sins of the world and save us from eternal peril and burning and gnashing of teeth in hell. I don't give a fuck. Can I be any more clear? So you gotta do better, Kiefer. You gotta do better. Yes, we need better evidence. But you keep tippity tip tap tap dancing around. It doesn't get us anywhere.
much shorter time frame, much closer to the time of the eyewitnesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's incredibly vital. One of the things when you're talking about the dating, that just gave me a flashback from my New Testament class.
Yeah, she's about to spout out some bullshit. But before they get into this, just remember the more we have progressed and the better we have become as humans, and the more we have evolved and understand the burn, different events and traumatic events can affect the brain and affect memory and recollection of different events. Eyewitness testimony in the court of law is not nearly as impactful and doesn't hold nearly as much weight as it used to. It still does. Don't get me wrong. It still does, but it's not nearly what it used to be, because now we've evolved and we have science and we have biology and we have neurology and psychology. Like, we have all this shit, right? So I just want to point that out before they go on their typical evangelical rant about why the eyewitness account is so fucking convincing. And always keep in mind, it was 500. Exactly fucking 500. Not 501, not 499, not 487, not 532, 500. 500 on the dot. We don't know who the fuck these people are, but there was 500. Fucking stupid.
At University of North Florida, and our textbook was by Ehrman. So that was my intro to New Testament scholarship. And it really rocked me, the dating in particular, because Ehrman is dating everything later. And it makes it seem like, how can a person remember? And, they bring in a telephone game, and you start thinking about, like, if things are passed down, things are lost. Can we trust it?
But Oz, they wouldn't die for a lie. Checkmate, atheist. Maybe, but they didn't exist, so they didn't die for shit. Keep it moving.
And so it's very, that dating, especially of the Gospels, like you pointed out, is a pivotal point, because it can start to rattle your faith a little bit.
Yeah, Bart, when he summarizes scholarship, he tends to summarize. Well, one time I was with him, and he said something about most New Testament scholars don't think that Paul wrote 2 Thessalonians. And I'm like, I don't think that's correct. And my colleague Ben Witherington said, no, that's not correct. And then Bart said, well, that's only if you include evangelicals as scholars. I'm like, please. and Ben said, well, are you throwing out conservative Catholics too? But anyway, I mean, even on Bart's dating though, I mean, Bart talks about the telephone game, but a number of memory theorists have actually criticized that specific analogy, his specific analogy. He wrote a book on memory and how we can't remember things. And it's true, like with psychological memory. I mean, if I ask you what you had for lunch last Tuesday, you may or may not remember. If you ask me, I'll definitely not remember. And that's not just because I'm an absent-minded professor, but if you ask me every conversation I had last year, obviously I'm not going to remember. We forget way more than we remember. But things that are significant to us, we tend to remember those. And especially, after a year, we may have forgotten like half of the things we thought were significant. But studies of long-term memory show that major events in our life, we tend to remember those even for 4 decades later. And so in the telephone game also, it's like, okay, I whisper something to somebody, they whisper it to somebody else. And, by the time you get to 40 people, somebody's going to have messed it up. So you're thinking like 40 generations of passing it on. But that's not how Jesus' teaching worked. That's not how Jesus' public ministry worked. You had a bunch of people who were all there together. That's one generation. That's not 40 generations. And so a lot of scholars, and especially those like Barry Schwartz, some of the very people he cites about memory have shown that that's not a valid analogy.
What in the motherfucker are you talking about? Like, this is literally just the filler space in the word salad, in the word spaghetti, in the word fucking noodles and caboodles and doodles and what? No, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck what you tell me. I do not give a fuck what you tell me. Whether it's somebody that has as bad of a memory as I do, or someone that has I'll use Jena, because Jena has she helps me all the time because I forget fucking everything, and she, at least from my perspective, having the fucked up memory that I do, it's like this like her brain is this like metal trap where once she hears something or somebody says something, like she retains that. It's just not the way my brain works. My brain is not a steel trap. But whether it was Jena or myself, you're even if we were to concede, and I won't, but even if we were to concede to your 40-year argument, I'm having a real difficult time buying into the fact that someone can hold on to the vivid imagery and the vivid details and the particulars in which the gospel writers, whomever they were, tried to record in the book, and they can't even keep it consistent. Like right now, I barely remember your name. Like I already don't like you. I already think you're a dishonest piece of shit, and I already can't remember your name. Get the fuck out of here. right back. Yep. And what's up, Pat? What up? What up? What up? And Pat, which I respect, he and his scholarship and his achievements way more than I do. This fucking douchery douche to do bag. You may remember little pieces, but how clearly do you remember the important events, as Pat said? I agree. I fucking agree. It's bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
No, that's helpful because as you're talking about memory, I started to think about our justice system. We couldn't, if we didn't believe that memory was an effective tool in which to engage people, we wouldn't even be able to have a legal system because everybody's testimony is based on their memory of events. And so that society couldn't function if we did away with people's memory.
Eyewitness testimony is something that we have to depend on in law, in journalism often, in anthropology and sociology, and certainly historiography. If we couldn't depend on it at all, we'd have to throw out all of ancient literature. We wouldn't know anything about the ancient world except what we found on coins and what we could discern from inscriptions and so on. So, yeah, it's almost nobody would take it that far outside the New Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fuck out of here. And again, Pat, if you're still here, Pat, but by all means, please let us know how effective or compared to what it was in the past, is the example I used earlier. Compared to what it was before we had all of these, all the studies and the research on memory and psychology and neurology and all that, eyewitness accounts from human beings is not nearly as reliable or not nearly as counted upon as it once was, because we now have these studies. We've evolved and we got better and we understand that it's not reliable. So you're whatever her name is that does this, it's not nearly as reliable as you think it is. Nor is it as reliable as Kiefer thinks it is. From my days as a cop, I can tell you memories and eyewitnesses are generally crap. Yay. Yep, all y'all motherfuckers just got Hulk Hogan. What you gonna do, brother?
Yeah, you brought up a good point. And this is, I don't want to get us too far off of historical Jesus, but when you were talking about the validity of evangelical scholarship as it relates to the New Testament, it wasn't until I took that New Testament class that I heard my professor say that not all 13 letters were written by Paul. And so there is this idea that Paul only wrote part of the letters, but he could not have wrote all of the letters. Or I believe it's Peter may have wrote First Peter, but not Second, or it might be the other way around. I can't remember offhand. It was First Peter. Okay. And so all of that you're starting to take into thinking about it, and then they'll say, well, only evangelical Bible believing scholars believe this because they have a stake in it. They have a vested interest in them writing this, because it becomes, if you think it, then it takes a level of authority. But nobody that has serious scholarship believes that Paul wrote all 13 letters.
Yeah, boom. You see that? No, fuck it. I'm not. You guys are fucking lying out your asses, so I don't even give a fuck about talking shit. You read that, you lying ass motherfuckers, you deceitful motherfuckers, making shit up, creating shit that ain't real. Get outside your box. Become comfortable with the uncomfortable. Push yourself to think outside of your box. I promise you, if you take those little Jesus colored lenses off, stop drinking that Jesus juice, you'll see how fucked up the shit is you're talking about. But until then, I am Satan. I am Lucifer, and I am here to seek and devour. Bitches.
And so there's this game of who do you trust as it relates to scholarship? But and for a college student like me who had no other exposure, it was really troubling because I'm like, okay, I want to be with the people who've actually studied this from an unbiased perspective. But also at the same time, it's like, this is what I believe to be true. So you're wrestling with that. For those who are wrestling with that may be listening to us, because I know I'm not the only person that has had that experience in class. How do we know which scholarship, especially when it comes to the New Testament and Old Testament as well, but the challenge to say, oh, these people were the true scholars. And I guess I want to point out to our audience too, you graduated from Duke, which is a progressive institution with a PhD.
And before this dumb motherfucker even opens his mouth, we've already crossed into the land of fallacies. Before he even answers, we've already created the no true Scotsman fallacy. But let's see, he wanted to talk about a non sequitur earlier, which he had no idea what the fuck a non sequitur was. But let's see if he can identify a no true Scotsman's fallacy and call her out on it and address it and move on. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Dun, 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 dun.
So you have the same education as somebody who may have taken a more progressive stance. It's not like you went to a conservative evangelical school to get a PhD, and you still would take a more evangelical approach to your scholarship. So I hope that question made sense. But that's kind of how would you help somebody navigate through that?
Yeah, no, I'm sure that not everybody takes like a biased stance, like, oh, if you're evangelical, you don't.
Just real quick, I agree with Jena. Like, here's the advice: is get the fucking goddamn motherfucking mic out of your. Like, we shouldn't be doing this. This is Oz reporting live from the Atheist Network Group studios, and I'm literally smelling and licking my mic at the same time. Yeah. Can you hear me loud and clear? And I sound nasally. I sound nasally because the microphone is pressed up against my nasal cavities, so I'm a little nasally. I'm a little nasally. But you can see me, right? Can you see me though? But can you see me? But can you see me? I need to know if you can see me. This is for future reference. I need to know. I need to know if you can see. I need to know if you can see me rubbing my nose and licking the mic. I need to know for future references. I need to know this is important informations of what's happening right now on the stream. All right, back to you, Bob.
Count. I have been in places where that's the case. That's not the majority approach, that I've experienced from colleagues across the board. It's like, if you make a good case, that's respectable. That's probably the more traditional scholarly approach is, if you make a good case, we'll listen to you. That's certainly the dominant approach in British scholarship and I think German scholarship today. But I was in another meeting where historical Jesus scholars were getting together, and they got somebody from the Jesus seminar to respond to my first historical Jesus book, and he started out by saying, well, there are two kinds of scholars. There are critical scholars and there are evangelicals, and you evangelicals shouldn't even be allowed in the same room with us. Now, here's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to try to run down his scholarship, but the stuff he's written, it's only documented a little bit, I think. And if you looked at my work, I mean, it was heavily documented from ancient sources. I'd read through most of ancient literature that's available, that's relevant to the topic. I mean, my larger Acts commentary, I cited 45,000 references from antiquity outside the Bible. So it's not like I don't know the sources. It's like, that's my main thing. And plus, in terms of engaging with secondary scholarship, my bibliography of secondary sources was over 10,000 secondary sources. So, I have a fairly good understanding.
What the fuck did you just say? I know everybody in the chat is all excited about me rubbing my nipples right now. And we probably needed that distraction. Oh man, not just, yes, Andrew, second, but it's the amount of fucking secondary. Oh man, I gotta rewind that. Oh, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, you lying piece of shit.
I'm going to try to run down his scholarship, but the stuff he's written, it's only documented a little bit, I think. And if you looked at my work, I mean, it was heavily documented from ancient sources. I'd read through most of ancient literature that's available, that's relevant to the topic. I mean, my larger Acts commentary, I cited 45,000 references from antiquity outside the Bible. So
And yes, I continue to be the king of pause. Look at this motherfucker's face. He's puzzled. He's puzzled that shit even came out of his fucking mouth. He said, 45 external references. Did you hear me? 45. Oh, God, fucking Christians. Oh, yes, Jena Him's a character. And Aunt Jerry, when I watched this earlier before we did the stream, I thought the exact same thing that you just put. Is he counting like every word, every letter? Like what is it? What the fuck are you counting, you fucking batshit fucking crazy motherfucker? What are you counting? You're the same dumbass that has tried to posit fuck oh, the word just left me. God damn it. Come on, brain fatigue. Push past it. I can't get the fucking word to pop back in my head. But anyway. Like you're the one on here talking about all of the scholars accept this, and all the scholars believe all of this, and all of them believe that there was a JJus from the Bible, and you don't know nothing about nothing. You don't know nothing about nothing. Motherfucker, you literally just claimed to have 45,000 external accounts for the life of Jesus. Please, where are they? Please. We need to be able to vet them. We need to be able to verify them. We need to be able to know that they are true and accurate. But by all fucking goddamn means, put that shit on the table. Don't just make assertions. We need that evidence. You don't just get to go popping off the mouth that shit. Get the fuck out of here. I wasted 30 years of my goddamn life on that goddamn fucking bullshit belief. And if there's 45,000 fucking accounts of this shit, I need to know about it. I fucking demand to know that there's 45,000 fucking accounts of this shit. But guess what? Keefer, Queefer, I know that it ain't there. And Habermas ain't right, and you ain't neither, bitch.
It's not like I don't know the sources. It's like that's my main thing. And plus, in terms of engaging with secondary scholarship, my bibliography of secondary sources was over 10,000 secondary sources. So, I have a.
Oh my God, it just gets worse. What is happening? You're a fucking idiot. I don't know what college gave you a piece of paper that says doctor on it, but they got some splaining to do. They got some splaining to do because you dumb. You dumb. And that's coming from a high school dropout dumbass. What the fuck? No, Jake 4D, he said 45K. 45,000. 45 motherfucking thousand. But here I was a Christian for 30 years, and I'm still like I'm open to if there's evidence. I'm open to seeing evidence. I never heard of the 45,000. Even as a Christian. What the fuck is he talking about? Oh my fucking God. Good point, Pat. Pat said, I wish there was a way to hold this guy professionally liable for what he's saying. This is why so many people double down on these sort of statements because they lack the exposure to know it's BS. I totally agree. Totally fucking agree. All right, we'll go a couple more minutes here. I think there's one more thing I wanted to hear. I think it's close for now. We'll rippity rapid up.
Fairly good understanding of the range of scholarship out there. Now, most of the scholars, from the feedback I got afterwards, most scholars didn't agree with his approach on that. But there are people with that. But then you talk about who's biased. I mean, I've read his stuff, but is he going to read my stuff? So in terms of, there's a range of scholars. So there are people who are just like biased against, they say, well, if you believe too much of the Bible, then you're obviously biased. But that's a bias in itself. And there's actually pressure within some academic circles to show how much you don't believe so that you can be respectable. And to me, that's not the right approach we should take. Let's look at the evidence and see where it leads. And there are
and I'll just say I am not one that has any scholarly achievements in my life, and unless we're going to count knowing how to use a scale and count a lot of money and do the damn thing, I don't I would not line up with that. But I do have very, very good friends that I trust that are much smarter than I am in those degrees or in those areas, and I've never heard not a one of them say, oh, well, when I go and I chat with so-and-so and these people, I got to put my big atheist balls on the table and show how much I disbelieve because that makes me more credible. So here, boom, I just put my big old atheist dick on the table. Man, get the fuck out of here. That bullshit.
times where the evidence didn't lead where I expected it to lead. And so I changed my view. Obviously, when I changed my view from atheist to Christian, that was a major shift. But I try to go with where the evidence leads. And then there are people who are inflexibly conservative, like, well, I'll just believe this no matter what the evidence says. But scholarship is supposed to be about discovery and building on the information that's there. Mm-hmm. So when we go to Paul's letters, almost all, I think pretty much all of us would agree.
You know what? We're going to end it right there. But I don't even want to go any further. It's supposed to be, oh, look at that pause button again. God damn, I'm good. Look at that sexy motherfucker. Yeah. Look at that sexy motherfucker. No, hold on. I think the one part, I'm going to play it for one more minute.
Agree that Hebrews doesn't count. Paul didn't write Hebrews. And there's certain letters that basically everybody agrees on. And then I would make a strong case for 2 Thessalonians being by Paul. I mean, who in their right mind who's writing after Paul's day is going to talk about a man of lawlessness sitting in the temple when the temple got destroyed in 70? And with Colossians, I mean, Colossae was destroyed in an earthquake around the year 62. So if you got a pseudepigrapher writing decades later, who's going to write a letter to a city that they know has been destroyed? I mean, some of the anyway, sorry, there are good scholars who hold different views on some of these things, but some of them you can make stronger cases for than others, but I think scholars need to listen to each other and be respectful regarding the evidence.
Yeah, and you might be saying listening, not really understanding the significance of Paul writing those letters, because then it becomes a question of biblical authority. How are we measuring contributions of the canon? If we can't find an apostle or somebody in close proximity to an apostle that wrote it and identify it, then the validity of should we listen to it becomes questionable. So that's why this conversation is significant, because it kind of tugs away at authority and the ability to trust a book. So that's why, particularly for me in my own journey, that question weighed heavily on me when I was in that New Testament class, because it really starts to tear the fabric of your belief systems.
Yeah, that was actually something that the early church did well, because when they decided which gospels should be canonical, they used an approach that we would actually use historiographically today. It needs to have been written within living memory, and it needs to be either by an eyewitness or somebody who knew the eyewitnesses. Well, that's good historiographic practice. So when you have somebody writing in the first century, by definition, 60 to 80 years, these are all written within living memory of Jesus' ministry. When you have the Gospel of Thomas, on average dated around the year 140, sometimes dated around 170, the Gospel of Thomas is probably the earliest of the so-called other Gospels that people talk about, the so-called lost Gospels. They weren't lost; they were thrown out. But but that is way beyond living memory. That's like, if you take the earliest date, if you take 70, that's like 70 years after when Mark is often dated. It's over 100 years after Jesus' public ministry. And then most of the so-called lost Gospels are they're from the heyday of novels, late 2nd, early 3rd century, and then going on, hundreds of years after. At this point, there's nobody alive who remembers Jesus' public ministry as eyewitnesses. These are people making stuff up or recycling what they have in the earlier sources. So there was reason not to accept these as canonical, but to accept the first century ones as canonical. It's not a matter of just having a bias because we're Christians. It's anybody in their right mind who's thinking historically is going to say, okay, well, these earliest sources are the best historical sources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's extremely helpful. I know we got off the case for historical Jesus, but I think that was a good sidebar. Going back to our main topic, what would be if you could give just some points to verify the historical Jesus? I mean, you kind of already alluded to it, but for those who are listening, like some takeaway points to encourage people's faith and to give them kind of some talking points when they're engaging someone who doesn't believe that Jesus was a historical figure.
Yeah, there are a lot that we could give. I teach a 40-hour course in historical Jesus, and so there were the basics of Jesus existed. We
What how you dishonest piece of shit fucking liar. What you just said fucking 10 minutes ago you don't even know the arguments from the skeptics and the atheist and the mythicist. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I officially have zero problems calling you a piece of shit. You are a dishonest piece of fucking shit. And you know what you can do? You can take your doctorate. You can take your 40-hour fucking class. You can take all that shit. You know what you can do? Turn it sideways and stick it in your ass. You piece of shit. You literally just stepped in shit over and over and over again. Fuck you. And I don't give a shit about your degree. I don't give it. Your degree does not mean a fucking thing to me. You're a dishonest piece of shit.
Deal with that up front, but then we go into all the historical evidence for, Jesus taught about this subject, Jesus taught about that subject, he told parables like this, and so on. But just starting with the basics, there are sources from non-Christians from the era that talk about Jesus. Now, they don't talk about Jesus as much, but they talk about Jesus more than they talk about any other figure who might be considered at all comparable. Josephus, first century Jewish historian, one of his favorite figures is Herod Agrippa I. He was king of Judea from the years 41 to 44. Very popular because he was descended from the line of the Maccabees and Herod the Great. So Josephus talks a whole lot about him, but Herod Agrippa I only gets a line in one Roman historian. Pontius Pilate, the governor under whom Jesus was executed, he's talked about in Jewish sources, but he's talked about in Roman sources only once because they only brought up people in the provinces as it mattered to them. Well, in the case of Pontius Pilate, he's mentioned in Tacitus's Annals 1544, and here's how he's mentioned. He's mentioned as the governor under whom Jesus was crucified. Mm-hmm. So Jesus actually gets more attention, even in the Roman sources, than does the governor under whom he was executed. Because Jesus had a following and the followers were spreading in Rome, well, that's when Roman historians took notice. But Tacitus, the Roman historian, talks about Jesus being executed under Pontius Pilate, talks about his movement, gives us an approximate time frame. There were already thousands of his followers in Rome by the time you get to the year 64 with the fire in Rome, and then they start getting burned alive by Nero to light his imperial gardens at night. Suetonius takes us back way before the year 64 to around the year 49. So like 19 years, given the usual dating, 19 years after Jesus' crucifixion, and those of us who are believers would add, and his resurrection. So this is like really early material talking about Jesus' followers in Rome and debates within the Jewish community there. You also have just
No. The only people that have those dates are your fucking crazy ass motherfucking charismatic evangelical Christians like you. They're the only ones that have those dates, bro. They're the only ones that have those dates. And you do it because you need it. You do that and you bend and you manipulate and you twist because you need that for your faith. You need that for your belief. So again, I have zero issue calling you a piece of shit and a dishonest interlocutor, a dishonest what the fuck ever. And I agree with what people are saying in the chat. Whoever was responsible for actually handing you a piece of paper that said you've earned a doctorate, they may need to be fired.
Josephus himself, he's got, it would be his Antiquities, book 18, paragraphs 63 and 64. He talks about Jesus. And later Christian scribes adapted it some, but scholars have pretty much reconstructed what the original form.
I forget it, and I am I'm not an expert, but I have studied this stuff enough where all of this like either makes complete sense or makes absolute no sense, or it's like, okay, I remember reading that, I remember studying that, and I'm pretty sure most of, not all, but most of what he said about Josephus are the parts where people say that it was fabricated. It was a later, addition to. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Of Josephus' saying was, and it's been confirmed by an Arabic version of Josephus's quotation that's been discovered. And what Josephus says, now, on all these things, there are people, they'll come back and they say, well, that's not likely. I don't believe that was actually written. But again, the standards that they're using, you can't trust anything in ancient literature. I mean, you can't trust anything at all. Here's what Josephus said, and this is reconstructed as one of the most famous.
And you just heard it all. Oh, you're an idiot. You are not that smart. You are literally not that smart at all. You might be intellectual. You are not very smart. I'm gonna replay it. I don't want it to come from my mouth. I'm gonna replay that shit.
It would be his Antiquities, book 18, paragraphs 63 and 64. He talks about Jesus. And later Christian scribes adapted it some, but scholars have pretty much reconstructed what the original form of Josephus' saying was, and it's been confirmed by an Arabic version of Josephus' quotation that's been discovered. And what Josephus says, now, on all these things, there are people, they'll come back and they say, well, that's not likely. I don't believe that was, the standards that they're using, you can't trust anything in ancient literature. I mean, you can't trust anything at all. Here's what.
You trust anything in ancient. You cannot trust anything in ancient literature. Nothing at all. That's huge. That's huge. Because no one knows ancient literature like Kiefer knows it. You can't trust it at all. Well, that was I mean that's an easy ending. We can kick you right the fuck off. You cannot trust ancient literature. Not at all. That's coming from a motherfucker that holds a doctorate. I need my applause button. God damn it. Where's my... Fuck this shit.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen. But I need my applause. That was beautiful. That was fucking beautiful. There it is. Yes, thank you, Jena. That was beautiful. And I love that the doctor shit all over himself. And ended our stream with ancient literature cannot be trusted. None of it. None of it. And I won't do it tonight, but tomorrow, at some point, I'm going to cut that shit out. And that is going to be used on Tang for forever. Forever. That was beautiful. That was, how else, as atheists, I'm trying to figure out why my fucking internet is so bad. Well, not mine, my stepdad's. Y'all, I cannot wait to fucking move in my apartment in like 3 weeks. Oh, it's fucking driving me fucking nuts. It's bothering me, but there's not a lot of better ways that you could like even conjure up a think to end a stream than to have the fucking Christian doctorate holding apologist / historian / whatever the fuck else he calls himself after all that bullshit come full circle. You can't trust any ancient documents. Well, fuck me. Well, fuck me. I thought I was saying this all along and you were disagreeing with me. And here I'm getting shitty. I'm calling you fucking names. I'm telling you to fuck off. I'm like all that shit. I'm being an asshole. And then at the end of the day, we actually are on the same. We're on the same page. Who the fuck would have thunk it? After you said there's 45,000 external accounts of the historicity and being to validate the historicity of Jesus Christ, we get down to the point that we actually fucking agree that you can't count on any ancient documents. Man, that's a beautiful thing. Let the church say amen. And this just goes to prove, and the Holy Spirit must have been moving and speaking, because I just told Dr. Josh, was it 2 days ago, yesterday, whatever, that yes, let the church say amen. And just remember, God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And I don't need your doctorate to outsmart you. I don't need all of your hours in the classroom to outsmart you. And well, that's obvious I don't need that because I just fucked you up. I just fucked you up. And if you think for one hot goddamn motherfucking second that I'm not going to pimp the shit out of that, and I'm not going to destroy you with that little clip, you're out your goddamn mind, bro. Just know you're mine. And I am, like, the next 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever, I'm literally going to drag you around the YouTubes and the social medias by your Christian balls. That's what I'm going to do to you. Just know it. Game over, bruh. You got owned by a dropout. Bitch. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. Well, I'm a rippity wrap this up like a burrito or a condom, whichever you prefer. That's totally up to you. Just keep it classy. We have a super chat. Oh fuck, my bad. I was all in my rant and I missed it. My bad. Totally my bad. Nope. Oh my god, native atheist. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, but it was still funny at the same time. For fuck's sake. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, drinks and hearts and 100s all night, because that's what we do here, Tang Gang. And again, I said at the top of the show, but my brain is fucking trash right now, so I do apologize. But the crickets were funny. I didn't do it on purpose, but this shit was funny. Love you, native atheists. Oh man. Wrap it before you tap it. I need to stop because I'm gonna start getting fucking what do the cool kids call it? Slap happy, and then it'll go way off the tracks. So, yeah, but the fucking crickets that's gonna kill me all night. That shit was hilarious. No drinks required. Punch drunk. Yeah, I've only had the one drink. But yeah, it's just my brain's been overloaded this weekend. The hours and everything working, but no. We'll wrap it before we tap it. Wrap it before we tap it. I don't know what that means in a live chat, but it sounds funny, so I'm down. But I appreciate y'all hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed that video. And like I said, like next 24 or 48 hours, I'm gonna clip the shit out of that motherfucker, and I'm going all the way in on Kiefer, Seifert, whatever the fuck his name is. Whoa. Now I'm just gonna keep going. Jena. No, I'm gonna keep going. Jena. Nobody puts Oz in a corner. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, I'm done. I love y'all. I appreciate you. And I do actually have to get again another fucking long ass day tomorrow. So I do have to get up. Because for whatever reason, fucking bitch ass, fucking asshole, fucking nose in the air, James Murr has to have all these random ass times. And as a club, we have to coddle him. We have to coddle him like he's a little Christian. So sorry, I have to read these real quick. Stay safe, everyone. Take your vitamins, drink your water, wear your seatbelt. And don't forget the motherfucking condoms. And Aaron. You done fucked up, Aaron. Yeah, in the corner is where the crickets are. No condoms. Boom. That's all I'll say. Boom. I was about to get carried away. Love y'all. And I'm sure I will see you in the next day, 2 days, because I forget when the streams are coming up because my brain is disconnected. Right now, I'm trying to find the videos to leave.
Yeah. This is for all you non-philosophizing black sheep, unwelcome, pushed to the side motherfuckers like me. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way. Let's get down to business. These bitches got glitches. And you thought you'd dismiss us? Nah. Now I'm laughing in stitches. See, the problem be, it'll be a tragic travesty to come after me. So just know this is how we get down. Respect that shit like a pronoun, bitch. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way. Yeah. And fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way. Yeah. Fuck what they say. Tang gang, atheist your way.